Tone is something that can sometimes be rather difficult for us to get our minds around because it's something that seems like it simply magically occurs. We can read a poem, we can read a story, and we can just get this sense there's something generally sad going on, or that there's something seems rather sarcastic about it. And we just kind of pick up on that. However, it's important to recognize that tone is something that is established through specific language that's going to be used. It's difficult sometimes to get our mind around that because we also use tone to talk about the tone of voice that somebody has. So we know that somebody's being sarcastic from the way in which they modulate their voice. We know that somebody's being very serious because they modulate their voice in another kind of a way. And so what we have to do is we have to begin to think about how is it that a poet can actually modulate their voice, let's say, on the page. What can they do by choosing specific kinds of words to be able to give us a certain tone? This, of course, relates in some ways to what we were looking at earlier, or the video that I made earlier, about diction. That is, we choose certain kinds of words, and that's going to help establish a particular tone. So we want to make sure we look rather carefully. We've got a series of poems in this section of the chapter where I want you to talk about the different tones that the author is going to use. So make sure to look rather carefully at specific words that the authors use. Think rather carefully about why we've got that "when all was continuous chuckles," that poem. It's got a particular tone. You can think about it might have a different tone if it were just called chuckles. What is it about "when all was continuous chuckles"? There's something very serious about that first part that gives us this rather dark tone that's able to counteract that chuckles, which is something that might seem much lighter. So look rather carefully at the language that's going to be used and think about how that helps establish a specific tone for the poem.